Well, there YouTube. How you doing? It's Charles here, and it's Thursday. And like I said earlier this month, all January, we're gonna be doing unboxings every Thursday. We got a couple of new GI Joes. We got a couple of WWE action figures to unbox, and then we're gonna have my new segment, which I call "What's in the Box," where I unbox figures that have been in my collection, collecting dust, and we'll get a good look at them. It'll be kind of a fun compare and contrast to what was going on 5 to 7 years ago in action figure production and what's going on now. But this is a brand new G.I. Joe unboxing of some action figures I found on Walmart.com. I thought they had a really, really tough look. I really wanted them, but they were in the $50 to $60 price range. Which, let's be real, I am a grown man who lives off of disability, so I can't afford to be throwing around money like that. So I waited, I put them on my watch list and waited, and I found them for $30 for this 2-pack. So really that is $15 an action figure, which in today's market is a great deal. So I was more than happy to pay that $30 price point. So we're going to start here with the packaging. We have G.I. Joe, Vincent R. Falcon, and Quarrel. And these are the two characters right here. So Vincent Falcon, the gentleman here, and Quarrel is the female action figure. They are part of the Nightforce, a subunit of the G.I. Joes. If you're currently reading the Energon Universe G.I. Joe series from Skybound Image Comics, they've actually started introducing the Nightforce. And I hear rumor that Roadblock might be joining in January into the Energon universe. So I'm very excited about that if that happens. On the back, you have some great action shots of the action figures themselves. And they have a lot of cool accessories. So without further ado, that's enough talking. Let's get into it. I really like this packaging. It's not overly bulky, and you can see virtually everything from the window. And it comes loaded with accessories. Now, the way that I do these action figure unboxings is I use what I call the 3A criteria. And those A's are appearance, articulation, and accessories. That way we have kind of a ground to start on, and a criteria that is somewhat formalized. Now, I am seeing a lot of features here that are recycled from past action figures, and we will get to those. And we have some that are brand new to my collection. So we have here, pulling out the accessories here. I'm trying to make sure I keep them with the appropriate action figure. Again, like I said, there are so many. Even per action figure, I think this may be up there with the most accessories I've seen come with an action figure. Okay, so we got all of Falcon's accessories out, I believe. And then we have Quarrel, who I'm actually seeing a little bit of repurposing from the last Scarlet action figure that came out. Not that that's a bad thing, you know. It allows the companies to keep costs at a good amount, recycling different accessories and body parts. Again, this is just a treasure trove of accessories. That's going to be probably the lion's share of this review. Here we go. And then we have some arrows I'm going to leave in the packaging. So let's start with appearance. We have Vincent Falcon here. A very bulky figure, I would say almost to the proportion of Bazooka, Rock and Roll. Maybe not quite as bulky as Roadblock. But yeah, definitely a bulky figure with a lot of cool parts that are almost accessories. We have the separate black jacket here that is all black, and we have this sleeve here, this gauntlet that goes over the shoulder, which is cool, and it holds, looks like we have some shells for the big shotgun. The side holsters are both very cool looking. All of these different parts here, I like how they're dark black. You have shells and different things going on every extra piece here, from the flat jacket to the holsters to the belt. And the boots are that same flat black. And we got brown pants with green knee pads. So we're getting some differentiation there of color and texture. That is one thing that I am always a stickler for. And it's all covering a heather green, grayish shirt. Yes, I believe that is a heather green, an army green. And then on the vest here, if you look at the front pouches are painted brown to almost give kind of a leather effect. And so that is cool. I am a sucker for multiple variations of paint, and this does not disappoint. We have a handkerchief around the neck that comes off fairly easily, possibly too easy. We will see. And then the hat, it's almost exactly the same as comes with Sergeant Stalker. But as far as appearance for Falcon goes, this is an A. Definitely an A in my opinion. Possibly, I'm going to give it an A+, because they went all out with the paint variation, and I am a big fan of what they've done here. So Falcon gets an A for appearance, and then we go here. This almost feels like a Scarlet repaint. I don't know anything about the character here, but if you go back to the Scarlet retro card action figure, I actually did a unboxing here on this channel of it. You will see a lot of similar elements. The suit is almost a wetsuit, multi-layered. You swap out this green you swap out this green coloration for a gray and the black coloration for a yellow. It is the Scarlet action figure. And again, this accessory right here to hold the arrows, something that came on that Scarlet retro card. And so we're seeing a little bit of recycling, including this crossbow here. Another accessory that came with the Scarlet action figure. And so we got some repurposing on the main body here, but that's quite alright. The boots are cool. Got my Scarlet across the room there. I don't want to pause and go grab it. You know what? I am going to pause and go grab that. Hold on one moment. Okay, I am back. So I did get the Scarlet action figure for a compare and contrast here, and I'm glad I did because when you look at them side by side, it is essentially a repaint. Yeah, even the boots. You know, you swap out the yellow for the black. And then what I was saying about the actual design of the character, what they're wearing, you color swap the black for yellow and the heather green for gray. It's the exact same outfit and design. Let's see here. We have the knife sheath, which is again another repaint. Okay, yeah, so it is essentially a repaint, even with the quiver for the arrows. But there are some differences, like the flat jacket and the accessories on the upper arm here. We have that same kind of gauntlet on the shoulder there. And of course, a different head and hair style, but essentially a Scarlet repaint. But that's quite alright. I really like the Scarlet action figure, and my one gripe about the Scarlet action figure is that when I have it posed with other more traditionally painted G.I. Joe action figures, it stands out. In the summertime, I like to take them outside, get some shots out in the grass, and that yellow really stands out. So this will really fit in for some of my outside shots and some shots with my more traditional G.I. Joes. I think despite it being a repaint, I think it was a great repurposing. It's a character I don't have. It's enough of a difference between the Scarlet that I had to get them side by side to even notice how much of a difference there really was. And so as far as appearance, I like it. I prefer the color palette over the Scarlet action figure. I will give this an A. The face is kind of bland, but everything else, brilliant. So let's talk about the articulation here. And we're dealing with, looks like the exact same articulation. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about the one here. Unless I see something that is in it. Nope, there is something different here. So we will get to that after we do this. So we're going to start with Falcon here. We have the ball jointed head. Not a lot of motion, but enough. We get full left to right, a little back and forth. And then we go down to the shoulders. We have the butterfly cut for extended horizontal motion back and forth, ball jointed. And then we have a cut in between the shoulder and the bicep for horizontal movement. Pinless double jointed elbows that move very well out of the box. And then we have the hands that go back up and down and all the way around. I've been noticing that more recently with a lot of action figures. The hands, they don't go in and out, they go up and down. Not really a big fan of that personally, but it's not enough worth complaining about. The torso is on a ball joint, slightly hindered by the flat jacket. We don't really have too much left to right motion, a little bit. And then on the waist there, and then going out to the hip, we have ball jointed legs, cut in the thigh for horizontal movement, and then we have a cut above the boot for left to right horizontal, and the knees are pinless and double jointed. And then going down to the ankle, it goes back and forth, side to side. And so that is the articulation here. Now, the one thing I did notice between the two figures is that on Falcon, wait a minute. Okay, no. I was mistaken. I thought they were only single joints on the Quarrel action figure, but there are double joints but it's almost hindered by the gauntlet on the forearm. Let's see if that is a similar issue here with, yeah. So I had some problems with the Scarlet action figure because the bottom part of that joint goes into the gauntlet and really stops it there, and I was really afraid of damaging it. And so as far as articulation goes, Falcon, I would give that a B, and Quarrel, I'd give the articulation a C because of the double jointed elbow situation. But everything else is pretty much the same. So we're looking at B and C for articulation. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the accessories. It only comes with one backpack, but I'm assuming that it is interchangeable. You have the backpack piece here with an antenna sticking out. We have a couple of canteens on the back and rope. And we have green and black on here. The pack itself is black. And the canteens, the rope, and the antenna have the green. I like that. And then we have here some kind of holster for either, I'm thinking a knife. I think that may be a knife holster. And I am not sure what knife goes with who, because all of the knives here were all put into one compartment. I'm thinking if it might be this very big knife. Let's see if that fits. Yes, it does fit like a glove. So we have a knife holder in the backpack accessory, which is something novel. I haven't seen it before. So that is very cool. And then we have a couple of head accessories. You can move the hat here. We have this headlamp accessory, which is an accessory I got with the G.I. Joe tunnel rack. That is a very cool looking accessory. I like that. So another one that's repurposed. And then we have another novel accessory. We have this helmet, which I had not seen before, and I do not. Is this even a practical element? Okay, I see what we're doing here. So the helmet is actually an alternate head. Okay. Yeah, that looks tough. And I like that because you're not going to have to worry about losing it. That is a very, very tough look. I dig that. And he also came with, let's see, do we have a sidearm here? Okay, yeah, so the sidearm has to be his because she has no holster for it. So we have this right here. It's into the holster. I mean, nope, there is a sidearm. So we got that there, and then it comes with a multitude of weapons. We have this kind of a heavy-duty automatic weapon system. I am not the weapons expert. If you watch these videos, you know that at best I have guesses on what these things are called. I recognize this, a shotgun. I like that black with the red pump action on it. And then we have what I believe to be a grenade launcher here with a spinning compartment in the middle to get that automatic action. So that is a very cool looking piece there. So that is Falcon and all of his weapons. Okay, so now that we got a look at Falcon and his accessories, let's take a look at Quarrel. This is turning out to be quite a lengthy unboxing video. Man, a lot of accessories, but you know, I am not going to complain about it. The more accessories you want to throw at me, especially at this price point, the better. So we have a sidearm here. And does it have a holster? Does she have a holster for the sidearm? No, there is no holster for the sidearm. But we have what I believe to be, would this be an M16 or an AK-47? Let me know in the comments, because like I said, I am very, very weapons dumb. If it's not in a cartoon or a movie, I don't know. That's not my thing. And then we have a couple of knives here. Now, I'm not sure. One of these may go with Falcon here, because we had the... Okay, so let's see here. Okay, yeah. So this black one with the black blade and handle, it's snugly right there. And then let's do a swap on the head. And one thing I like about it is the heads actually swap very easy. And the great thing about these heads as well with the helmet, you know, these are going to stand out from the multitude of G.I. Joes that I actually have in my collection. And the arrows here, yeah, let's see if I can get the arrows pulled out easily. Now, I am personally not a fan of the individual arrows. And the reason why is because they're such a small part and so easy to lose. Now, I have seen, you know, for practical purpose, there were guys when I was on Instagram who would do cool things like actually place the arrows into the joints of other action figures to make it look like they had been struck by them. Which is, I mean, if you want to get that detailed in your action figure photography, that is a, you know, cool kind of practical use for them. But for me, they're just very small parts that are hard to keep track of. I will get them placed into this quiver, and I will leave them there and hope that they stay. So they do fit into the quiver nicely. Now this extra, we have an extra blade here. I'm not sure who that goes with. But yeah, they come loaded with all kinds of weapons. She has the sidearm here, the pistol. We already talked about the big automatic rifle there. She does not come with a headlamp. Now, one thing I was confused about were these accessories here. These are, we got two of these. It looks like they are lamps. And I am not seeing where they will plug in at. Okay, the knife, she has a holster here up on the left shoulder. So we're getting things figured out here. Yeah, I am not seeing a place for these lamps unless these are just made to be held in the hand. Interesting. So yeah, the accessories, I give the accessories an A plus, even with my frustration with the arrow accessory, but that's just more of a personal gripe. And then when I was getting also these accessories put on, I did notice something else too. If you go to the left gauntlet of Quarrel action figure, you will see those stars, and the same stars are here on Scarlet. So this is a repaint. Just it is what it is. It is a repaint of the retro card. Scarlet, the accessories set it apart, but it is the same body. So with these two action figures, I definitely get these. I would say a B plus. They're gonna stand out in my collection. We have a lot of novel accessories, but we also have a lot of repaints, rehashes, and small parts that don't necessarily have rhyme reason to them or their purpose. We get multiple heads, which is great for multiple looks, multiple variations, and team ups. And I am looking forward to seeing how these guys work within my greater collection here. For $30, I think I got a steal. If you wanted to pay $60 for it, I wouldn't. I'd wait for another sale. $40, I would still feel like I got my money's worth, but definitely not for that full $50 to $60 price point. I feel like at 30 though, I got a steal, especially with all the novel accessories. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Stay tuned. Next week, I think we're going to be doing a wrestling action figure unboxing. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep buying them toys. I am out.